guys, I'm fine. I thank God for this far because it has taken His mercies and His wrath for us to be where we are today. And I want to start the video by thanking our new subscribers and our returning subscribers. We value you. We appreciate you so much. You don't know how. We love you. We love your support. We do not take it for granted, guys. We appreciate a lot. And today, I want to start my video by saying, you can take a man from Africa, but you cannot remove the Africanism, if there is such a word, from that man. You cannot remove the culture. You cannot remove the fact that those people respect the motherland, where they came from. You cannot remove the fact that they still feel in their minds, in their hearts, in their whole being, that they carry the African gene in their blood. And I want to tell you, today's video is about that we are one heart, one mind, the Jamaicans and Africa at large. I am talking about Jamaicans because they have contributed a lot to some of the things that have happened in Africa, and Africans also have participated in some of the things that happened to Jamaica. So today's video, we are looking at what is the link between Africa and Jamaica, and what is the friendship. How far has the friendship gone? What do we share in common? And what has made us to be one heart, one mind? So the video is all about that. And I want to start by thanking the Jamaican people, because even after being captured as slaves in Africa and taken to Jamaica to work in sugar plantations, they refused to be brought down by the atmosphere of slavery, by the hard work that they were being forced to do, by the lack of food, going so many days without food and hard labor, and so many things that were being done to them, including beating. They persevered that with a lot of zeal, with a lot of energy, with a lot of determination, knowing that their dawn would come one day. And for sure, their dawn came. And they got their independence from the colonial masters who had held them captive and who are always oppressing them. They freed themselves. Being the strong people they are, they freed themselves from the colonial masters and they became independent. It is expected that when a person comes out of trouble, out of problems, out of hardship, you are likely to forget where you came from. You are likely to forget the place where you came from. Because remember, you are in a new land, new environment, new culture, new people, new everything. But I want to thank the people of Jamaica because they refused to be brainwashed. They refused to forget their ancestral land, Africa. They refused to deny their culture. They refused to deny everything to do with where they had come from. And they stood strong, knowing that they had come from a very strong gene, the gene of an African. And today, I celebrate them because we can see a lot of interaction, a lot of assistance, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of coming in from Jamaica to Africa to assist us. We have also seen, when we have celebrations to do, Jamaicans are on the front line to celebrate us in case of success, in case of a victory. Jamaicans always remember Africa, the motherland. They never forget, and they embrace it. They support Africans. They embrace them. They love them with all their hearts. Every channel I watch about Africa and Jamaica, they talk about us with a very great admiration and respect, and some of them I could see in the comment section saying, they could not have been without the motherland Africa. And I really appreciate that. No wonder they have embraced some of the words that are used in Africa. And I shot a video the other day and I talked about the relationship between Patois, the language spoken in Jamaica, and the African language. You can actually watch it in my channel. And this implies that these people still are very much into where they came from. They embrace, they adore, they respect, they love Africans. I want to share some of the things that have been actually shared by Jamaicans and Africa. And I want to give much respect to both Africans and Jamaicans because of keeping this mutual relationship. The other day, I saw a South African lady who was actually saying, she was called Samantha, who was actually saying she thought that Jamaica is in Africa because we feel that Jamaica belongs to us. Jamaica is part of us. Jamaica is part of our body organ. And therefore this lady, she said throughout her early life, she thought Jamaica was in Africa. And I also thought the same. Of course, because we really hear a lot about Jamaica from our ancestors, our parents, our grandparents. They talk a lot about these people. We have also heard a lot about Jamaican music, the reggae music, and it has influenced Africans in a very, very great way. The Jamaican musicians come to Kenya, they are embraced, they are welcomed, they sing, and people flock where they are performing because the Africans value Jamaicans, they love their music, they love their culture, they love the people of Jamaica. So you can see that this relationship is mutual. We saw the other day the African YouTubers going to Jamaica. They were well received, well catered for, well respected. We didn't see any one of them complaining about being harassed, about being in a bad position in Jamaica. They were always praising and singing and telling about the great Jamaica and the great people of Jamaica. And I want to say, we share a lot as Africans and Jamaica. I want to highlight some of the things that we share Africa and Jamaica. Number one, Jamaican Prime Minister Norman Mandry was the first to sanction apartheid in South Africa. Out of all the countries in the world, Jamaica was in the front line to actually talk about apartheid, the oppression of the black man, and all what was happening in South Africa. The Prime Minister of Jamaica, Norman Mandry, was actually the first one to sanction apartheid in South Africa. The singers of Jamaica, and you'll come across them, they sang discouraging apartheid. Marcus Garvey was also on the front line discouraging apartheid and talking against apartheid, and he was longing to see an independent South Africa, which came to be, but Marcus, unfortunately, he passed away before all this came to be. And we really appreciate the work done by Marcus Garvey, Norman Mandry, and Peter Tosh in the end of apartheid and the independence of South Africa. The people of South Africa were suffering. They were being oppressed. And our brothers and sisters in Jamaica looked at South Africa and said they could not keep quiet. Peter Tosh raised up, Norman Mandry raised up and refused the state that was in South Africa, including Marcus Garvey. This shows a lot of love, a lot of respect, a lot of concern, about their brothers and sisters in Africa. And we don't take that for granted. We really appreciate, we really feel we owe you the respect and the love you have shown Mother Africa. Number two, actually, let me start by saying before I come to number two, we may be apart in distance, but our love and our heart will always be for each other. And you can see that these great men came through for South Africa when South Africa was suffering, when the people were being oppressed, when the people were being punished. They came through and they said, no, you cannot punish our brothers and sisters. And this is great action to us as Africa. Jamaica is the only Caribbean country that names places associated with African people and names on African names. In other words, Jamaica is the only Caribbean island that actually use the name of the people and the names of Africa to name places in Jamaica. And I'm going to highlight a few of those places that are named after people and that are also named after the names that we find in Africa. I want to start by saying a place in Hanover has the president of Tanzania's name. So that place in Hanover is named after the president of Tanzania. And I'm going to find out what place it is. I'm going to tell you one day in one of my videos. The other one, did you know that there is a highway, 6 lanes, that are named after the former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela? There is a highway in Jamaica named after Nelson Mandela, and it is called Nelson Mandela Highway. For a people to name a road or a highway after somebody, it is a road of respect, a road of celebrating of this person, and therefore Jamaicans felt they should celebrate Nelson Mandela, they should respect Nelson Mandela by naming this highway after his name. This is great deed from the Jamaican people. The other one, there is a park in St. Andrew named after an African name. Abikuta in St. James is named after an African name. Nago Head in Portmore is named after an African name. Former president of Kenya, this is number 2 now. So those are the places in Jamaica which have names that have African, either people's names or names that are derived from Africa. We also saw the other day Akampong. Akampong is a name in West Africa and it is a name in one of the Jamaican cities. So you can see how much Jamaica has borrowed from Africa, some of the names and some of the people's names. So we have the Akampong, which is in St. Elizabeth, and it is named after a West African name, Akampong. Let us come to number 3. Number 3, former president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, was a special guest. Can you imagine that? At Jamaica's 57th anniversary of independence in 2019. So our former president traveled all the way to Jamaica to support our Jamaican sisters and brothers during their Independence Day celebration and their 57th anniversary in 2019. And this was a great gesture both from President Uhuru Kenyatta and also from Jamaican people to invite one of the African presidents to attend this great occasion. Remember that the Jamaicans value their Independence Day. They celebrate it in style. And therefore, for them to consider inviting our president, it was an honor. It was a great honor, and we really appreciate the relationship between Kenya and Jamaica. We have had our sisters and brothers going to Jamaica to actually do content, and they have received numerous great support from our Jamaican brothers and sisters. Named Dimwango. I shot a video talking about the amount of money Dimwango made in Jamaica. I want to tell you, Jamaica completely transformed the life of Dimwango and the family. That is for sure, because of the great support she received from our brothers and sisters from Jamaica. This is the kind of love that you cannot ignore. This is the kind of love you cannot just put away. It is the kind of love that needs cultivation, that needs us to, we use Kiswahili to say, pariria, take care of. Because these people have shown us they can be our brothers and sisters, more than actually. Look at Shonarwa. When she went to Jamaica, she received a lot of support. Old man Miss Trudy. Miss Trudy is from Kenya, and she actually received a lot of support from Jamaican people. African Tigress. We cannot be able to name them. And even I am Marwa. This shows these people love us genuinely. And we want to reciprocate that love by loving you genuinely, and all the Jamaicans that will feel like coming to Kenya, contact us. We show you the brotherly love and sisterhood that you have shown us in Jamaica. So we have the former president of Kenya visiting Jamaica during their 57th independence anniversary. Then we have Raki Dube. Raki Dube is a singer from West Africa, South Africa. Yeah, Raki Dube at one time, he says he is inspired. He was inspired by Peter Tosh in his music. You can see our brothers in Africa gets inspired by the brothers in Jamaica and sisters in their hard work, in their artwork of music, in their field work, in every area that we find ourselves in. And I said the other day, Jamaicans really motivate us and inspire us by seeing how hard, or rather how great they are, and how firm they can stand, and how hardworking they are, and how they have stood firm in their culture, in their values, in the way of respecting where they came from, which is Africa. I really respect them for that. Let us go to the other point. All right, the next one is that Mickey Spice, a great singer, sang a song which said, "We are Africans." And it was actually the Jamaicans that were saying they are actually Africans. Our body is in Jamaica and our minds. The Jamaicans talked about that their bodies are in Jamaica, but their minds are in Africa. And they keep on talking about Africa. They talk great about Africa. They support the Africans in a very, very great way. South Africa honored Jamaica with the colors of their flag, because Jamaica really participated in the attaining of independence of South Africa. And they felt that they can reciprocate back by just honoring their flag and their flag colors. And therefore, this is great relationship between South Africa and Jamaica. The other thing is that Jamaica actually participated a lot in the attainment of independence by the Zimbabwe people. They fought for independence for the people of Zimbabwe. And I've told you that Jamaica will not stop and stand to see an African being oppressed. It's like the story of Joseph. Is it Joseph? No, Moses. When Moses went to Pharaoh, he saw an Israel being killed by an Egyptian, and he could not stand the people that were carrying his blood in their veins being oppressed, and therefore he killed the Egyptian. And you know the story, it is there in the Bible. So Jamaicans will not stand and keep quiet and see Africans being oppressed. They will stand tall, they will refuse, they will come through for the Africans. Just like they did when they saw their brothers and sisters were not given independence. They literally fought hand to mouth to make sure that Africans attained independence. They have not boycotted the food, the culture, the way of doing things. They still feel, and they are actually, all this, the type of food they eat, the culture, the language, their way of doing things has a lot of influence from Africa because of the respect they have for Africa. And they value us in a very great way. Most Africans grow up thinking that Jamaica is in Africa because of the stories we hear. I had said about that earlier. We really respect Jamaica specifically because we hear a lot of stories about them, and we have come to appreciate them as the people who love Africa, as the people who fight for Africa, as the people who stand for the Africans. Remember the other day in the Olympics, we have this guy called Leslie. He was Leslie Wu from Botswana. He won a gold medal. And the Jamaicans were in the social media platforms congratulating Leslie and talking about him and praising him and feeling like he was part of their own. Though there were Jamaicans in that race, Jamaicans came through to celebrate this guy and to actually embrace him and to talk about him and his win. This is the kind of brotherhood and sisterhood you cannot just ignore. And therefore today, I wanted to actually thank the people of Jamaica for their love for us, for their commitment to us, and their friendship and their warm welcome to our brothers and sisters who go to the Caribbean. We cannot take that for granted, and we appreciate that so much. Yeah. So today's video will be that short, and I want to say bye-bye. I will see you during the next video.